Welcome back to the show, episode number 2. And before we dive into that, I just need to clear up something really quick. The name, the title, Peak Mindset and Leadership Academy, that's already being used by another company out there, so I'm not going to be using it. And for the time being, we're just going to call it the Sean Sear Show. Bit of a tongue twister, but it's what we've got. I'm open to suggestions for other types of titles if anybody wants to share one. And I would like to welcome you back. And if you're here for episode 2, that means you've probably put in the work from episode 1. And if you've actually done the work, if you've taken the time to create your clarity statement, if you've gone over and figured out your core values and set up some goals, then you're way ahead of the game. Because seriously, most people don't even take the time to put in that work. And some people just want to listen to things as they're going and watch the show from the sidelines. So today, we're moving on to the second element of the CLEAR method, which is leadership, more specifically self-leadership. My biggest belief is if you can't lead yourself, how do you really expect to lead others? Now, when most people think about leadership, they think about managing teams or trying to influence other people to do things, or maybe they're in a position with title of authority. And, that does count for some things. I'm not saying it doesn't. But again, what I've learned over time is if you can't lead yourself, you really can't see yourself or be out there leading other people. So going down this path, I would like you to think about it. I mean, if you're not accountable to you, how can you expect your team to be accountable for the things that they're doing? How can you guide other people through change if you're not willing to change yourself or manage yourself through those changes and controlling your emotions and reactions as you're doing so? And how can you set boundaries with other people if you won't set boundaries for yourself? So self-leadership is the foundation. And from that, we can then move on to leading other people. And here's the really good news. You don't need someone else's permission. You don't need a promotion. You don't even need a certain number of followers. You can just decide today to start leading yourself. So let's talk about what that looks like and how you can actually do it. So the paradox that I see all the time is that people want to be better leaders, so they start focusing on the external things. They start taking communication courses, they start reading books on influence or leadership itself, and they start practicing all of these different presentation skills, which are all good things, and they're tools you want to have in the toolbox, but they skip the most important part, which is leading themselves. Here's the truth. Your team will never be more accountable, more focused, or more resilient than you are. You are setting the standard. Your business will never have better boundaries than you do, and your leadership of others is actually a direct reflection of the leadership of yourself. So, what does self-leadership actually look like? And it comes down to, I think, these 4 key areas. Number 1, self-awareness. Number 2, self-regulation. Number 3, self-accountability. And number 4, self-direction. So self-awareness is knowing your triggers, your patterns, your strengths, and your blind spots. Self-regulation is about managing your emotions, your reactions, and your impulses. Self-accountability is following through on your own commitments. And self-direction is making the decisions in such a way that they're aligned with your core values and vision, and they're not being made by external pressure. So we're going to break each of these down and then come up with a plan for you over the next week to start implementing these things. So pillar 1, self-awareness. You can't really change what you can't see. And self-awareness means having an understanding of who you are. And a really good way to do this is to actually audit yourself. Look at your default patterns, your emotional triggers, your strengths and your weaknesses. And a simple way to do this is to actually keep track through the week. And at the end of each day, just ask yourself 3 simple questions. You can add more if you want. Question 1, what triggered a strong emotion in me today? Kind of go through that scenario and what the emotion was. Number 2, what pattern did I repeat that I've repeated before? If it's a bad pattern, we're going to try and break that. And number 3, what did I do well and where did I fall short of my own standards? Put both of those on there, and you're going to want to keep them. Most importantly, the ones that you're doing well in, because we have a tendency to fall into negative spirals. And if we keep the positive logged as well, at the end of a week, we can look at it and say, we're actually doing some of the things that I would like to be doing, that I think I'm doing really well. I want to keep doing those things. So write all of these things down, and you can start noticing some themes. And maybe you'll see that you shut down when you're being criticized. Maybe you'll see that you're overcommitting to things. You're always saying yes just so you'll always be liked. Maybe you're avoiding making decisions in conflict. Once you see what the pattern is, you can actually try and change it. So number 2 is self-regulation. This is about mastering your responses instead of being controlled by your emotions. It's a pause between stimulus and response. So, as an example, let's say you get an email. It's really irritating you. Self regulation is choosing not to fire off a response right away, but to actually take your time, take a breath, consider some of your options before responding, and ask yourself the question, which response best demonstrates me as a good leader. Maybe you're having a tough day and you want to skip your workout, blow off some of those other commitments. You just want to sit at home and binge Netflix or Prime Video. Self-regulation is actually honoring the commitments that you made to yourself, even when you don't feel like it. So identify the most common reactive behavior. Some people it's defensiveness, others it's avoidance, or it could be emotional outbursts. This week, when you feel that reaction coming, just pause, count to 10. I know we've heard it before. Just count to 10 and then ask yourself that question. What response would my best self choose right now? And it's not about suppressing your emotions. You should have emotions. It's about choosing your response after feeling that emotion. Pillar number 3 is our self-accountability. I feel that this is our most important pillar because it's about doing what you said you were going to do. Especially for yourself and more importantly for yourself. Most people are great at keeping commitments for other people, right? We show up for meetings, we meet deadlines, we show up and help out for different events or activities for other people. But what about yourself? What about those promises you made to you? There's a morning routine you thought would be great for you. Are you sticking to it? There's a project that you really wanted to do, and maybe you haven't even put pen to paper yet. How about the boundaries you said you would set? Are you holding those? Those boundaries are important for your well-being. So every time you break a commitment to yourself, you're actually eroding your self-trust. And without self-trust, you're going to start to realize that you never tell yourself the truth and you're not going to lead yourself forward. You're going to be someone who's always trying but never really doing. So here's how to build some self-accountability. Just a few thoughts. Number 1, make fewer commitments, but honor the ones that you make. Number 2, track your follow-through and then write it down. Again, keep score. Watch yourself making progress. Number 3, when you don't follow through, don't make any excuses, but get curious, right? What got in the way? What can you learn from this? How can you tweak it so you're moving forward? Bigger question, back to clarity. Does this really fit me and my values and where I want to go? And number 4, start small. Master showing up for yourself in small ways before making bigger commitments. A simple thing could be you want a morning routine with fitness and all these things. Well, maybe the easiest thing for you is to have a glass of water in the morning for the first bit until it becomes habit, or to set your clothes out the night before so you're already ready to get up, get into them, and do what you're supposed to do. Pillar number 4 is self-direction. This is about knowing your why and then making directions from your values and not from fear or obligation or other people's expectations. So remember the clarity work that you did in episode 1? This is where it actually becomes operational. When you're clear on your vision and your values, you have an internal compass. And now you can start to evaluate all the opportunities and the requests that come your way through that filter. And self-direction means you're the author of your life. You're not just a character in somebody else's story. You start making active choices. You don't just react to what's coming your way. So ask yourself this: in the last month, how many decisions did I make that I truly believe they were the right ones for me, that they fit my goals, that they fit my vision, that they fit my values, versus how many did I make to please somebody else? How many other ones did I make to avoid conflict? Or how many other ones did I make because I wanted to fit in, or I felt I should? So if most of your decisions are made by external pressure, you're not self-directed, you're other-directed, and that can be exhausting. So what we want to do is, as we learn to lead ourselves, is start to lead others, and we do this by leading with integrity. So here's where it gets powerful. When you lead yourself well, leading others actually becomes natural. It might not be easy, but it's natural. So if you can get out of the negative patterns and into the positive ones, and stick to the things that are moving you forward to help you grow and develop, your team will actually start to step up and start to do those things. They'll start to take more ownership. They'll start to respect your boundaries. Their performance will start to improve because you're improving. Most leadership, almost all leadership, isn't about what you say. It's about who you are and what you model. And here's the principle. People don't follow your words, they follow your integrity. So if you say that communication is important, but you don't return calls or messages, they start learning that communication really is important. If you say that work-life balance matters, but you glorify the overwork and the overtime and not taking any time off, well, they start to learn that balance is just some lip service that you're throwing their way. And if you say mistakes are learning opportunities, but you punish people for their failures, then they're starting to think, well, maybe I shouldn't try, or maybe I should hide my mistakes so I don't get in trouble anymore. Your leadership of others starts with the example that you set through the leadership of yourself. So as you develop as a leader, ask yourself, am I modeling the behavior I want to see in my team? Am I holding myself to the same standards I hold others to? Am I making decisions from integrity or from image? And do my actions align with my shared values? When there's alignment between what you say and what you do, people trust you. And trust is the foundation to all effective leadership. So here's your action plan. All right, let's make this practical. This week, I want you to follow these 5 steps. 1, I want you to choose a focus pillar. So I mentioned 4, right? Self-awareness, self-regulation, self-accountability, and self-direction. So which one is your biggest opportunity for growth right now? You've got to pick one, but just one. Don't get too eager. You can start to kind of get bogged down in having too many things on the go here. Step 2, identify one micro practice in that. So based on that pillar that you identified, pick one small thing you'll do every single day for the next 7 days to get that going. So if you chose, say, self-awareness, at the end of the day, journaling, you're going to go through those 3 questions every single evening. Self-regulation, you will do the 10-second pause before responding to a triggering situation. Self-accountability, maybe you'll honor one small commitment to yourself every single day. And self-direction, you're going to make one decision this week that's based purely on your values and not others' expectations. Step 3, you want to track your leadership wins. Really simple. Just make a checklist. Every single day, just know whether you practiced your micro habit, know what you learned, know where you succeeded or where you struggled, and don't make it a personal thing. Just put it down. It just becomes data, so that at the end of the week, you can see what's working and what's not. Step number 4, the leadership mirror exercise. So at the end of the week, ask yourself, quote, if my team, my family, or my business partner could only judge my leadership by my actions this week, not my intentions, not my words, just my actions, what would they conclude about my priorities and my values? This can be uncomfortable. That's the point. The gap between who you want to be as a leader and where you actually are is where the growth happens. And that's what we're looking for. And step 5, practice leading one conversation. So if you have a team, if you've got a meeting coming up, or if you've even just got a difficult conversation you've got to have with somebody, prepare for it differently. Don't go into it focusing on what do I want. Ask yourself the question, how do I need to show up for this conversation? What does self-leadership look like here? And really focus on pushing that forward. Lead yourself into the room before you try and lead anybody else. So here's what I want you to remember. Leadership isn't just a title. It's not just a position. It's a practice. And the most important leadership you'll ever do is the leadership of yourself. You can't control how others respond to you. You can't control the market. You can't control your boss's mood. You can't control how fast your business grows. But you can control how you show up, how you control your commitments to yourself, whether you're going to live in line with your values, the inputs that you make. And when you master that, when you become someone who leads yourself with integrity, that's when you become the kind of leader others want to follow. So in our next episode, we're going to talk about energy and enthusiasm, because leadership without sustainable energy just leads to burnout. And that's not the kind of life that we're trying to build here. But for now, just this week, just focus on this week. Lead yourself well, model what you want to see, build self-trust one day at a time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the work. And if you're getting value from this, please share it with someone who needs to hear this. And I'd love to know what's your biggest self-leadership challenge. You can send me a message through email to sean.cccinc@gmail.com, or you can respond in the comments down below this video. Till next time, stay clear, lead yourself first, and keep moving forward.